Hi there, Dr. Carmen McGuinness here with you. Today we're going to talk about negotiating life in uncertain times. I do want to warn you before I begin that some of what I am going to say might seem a little political to some of you. To me, it's just plain old common sense, and I think to most of my viewers it will seem the same way. But I do just want to warn you of that up front in case you need to exit. Stay with me. We humans are hardwired to seek predictability. It keeps us safe to be able to plan. We divide up time into neat little 7-day weeks so that we know when it's time to go to work and when it's time to relax. The months predict the cycles of nature, the moon, and so forth, whether you're a woman or the man who loves her. And months are also pretty handy for bill-pay cycles as well. Years mark the solar return and bracket the seasons. We're born into a physical world of natural predictability. Our early years are denoted by predictable benchmarks as well. We roll over, sleep through the night, learn to walk and talk on about the same schedule as everybody else. One might say that nature's work is done for a while. But society learned well from nature that life should unfold just so. And so off to school we go. We work toward graduation, and when we're done, we don't question that we should find work. We just do, because that's what is predicted for us. And what work we choose is predicted by our effort, past and present. In time, we match with a romantic partner, and the relationship is predictable to the extent that we're half in charge of the outcome. Will there be children? For the most part, this is up to us. Us with a capital U, the plural us. The gender of the baby isn't even a mystery these days. The baby's birth date is predictable within a few days. And life goes on. Our career matures. Things like raises and promotions are either predicted by a corporate schedule or by our performance. It's not until we consider our own death that we really have no idea. That is not at all predictable. No idea of time or date or the details. What disease or mishap will take us from this earth. This is our existential crisis, and how we respond to the uncertainty surrounding death makes all the difference in how we respond when life is uncertain. Instead of accepting the unpredictability of our own death, some of us pretend it isn't so. We deny the first imperative that we will die. And like young children behave, not believe, but behave as if we will not, as if we are immortal. What I propose today in this talk is that pandemics push that particular button, the death button. And that this is the divide we see in society today as we look around at the masked and unmasked. Pandemics, it turns out, are, by nature, all about death. And they are, it turns out, by nature, and made worse by politics, tremendously unpredictable. The only thing that might make a pandemic more predictable is the same thing that might make our own death more predictable: science. So here we are in this particular moment. Some of us are managing better than others. Why? Perhaps those who are managing better have faced the idea of their own death. Make no mistake, I'm not talking about facing death by being reckless, like maybe going 120 in a 60 zone, or promiscuity without protection, or sharing needles, or choosing a life of crime, or generally picking fights just for the hell of it. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not referring to those who go around flaunting their maskless mugs, snuggling up in bars and toting guns into state houses. No. I mean those who are facing death with calm and have a sense of emotional maturity about their own eventual, inevitable death, rather than pretending it ain't so. Living our lives safely in harmony with nature and society. And for those who haven't reached that point of emotional, existential maturity, haven't faced the idea of their own death, perhaps we're doing that work now. Living cautiously so that we might enjoy life longer. Seeing and hearing about death around us, noticing, respecting the sadness and loss it brings to so many, as we ourselves figure it out, this thing called death. Accepting that it is inevitable, whilst not wishing it anytime soon on ourselves or others, not risking our own life or theirs. Figuring out death, coming to terms with it without tempting it or inflicting it upon others. Now you might say, well, Dr. McGuinness, that's all well and good, but how exactly do you figure out death? How does one do that? Now, I could add a lot of psychological content here. Lots and lots of research has been done on death and dying and this particular existential crisis. But I think the answer is simpler than all that. How do we figure out life? Once that's accomplished, the rest kind of follows. And along the path, we live with the acceptance that we will die, rather than living life in denial. Rather than pretending the idea of death is a conspiracy and science a hoax. So, I sincerely hope that this has at least provided some thought-provoking, maybe internal dialogue, or maybe argument to present to others of your friends. I do look forward to seeing you next week, and until then, stay safe.